Want to ride your own Vuelta? Join Cycling has the Vuelta Join, giving you 4 race-inspired workouts each week throughout the 3 weeks of this Grand Tour. Try Join free for 1 month, no strings attached, at the link down below. Wout van Aert on the attack, Ethan Hayter stealing some bonus seconds from the breakaway, Tadej Pogacar responding. We leave Monaco and we head west through Provence, and we finish in Manosque, which is like a hilly, very tricky finish. Normally it's in the Tour de la Provence. Mads Pedersen's won on this finish twice, but it's in February in wet conditions with a different sort of stage then. It's less controlled than we would expect the sprint to be today. Pogacar, same time as Hayter, well, 0.09 of a second. So Ethan Hayter decided to go in the breakaway. There was a bonus sprint about 38 Ks from the finish, and there was 6, 4, and 2 bonus seconds in play. Trek and Visma Bike controlling that breakaway. Kjell Uterbrooks unfortunately had a crash in the stage. He was attended to, but actually didn't lose time today, so it was okay enough to be pushing in the finish, which was a hard finish. UAE didn't have to really lift a finger today because it was all controlled by the two teams wanting a sprint at the finish. But going into that intermediate sprint, because Van Aert was on 9 seconds, he wanted Ethan Hayter and his ripped shorts brought back. Hayter's quads apparently too big for the Green Points jersey bib shorts or skin suit. So Visma Bike put Armorel on the front, meaning serious business. They were just around the corner. It was 10 seconds, about 15 Ks from the intermediate sprint. And Hayter goes on a flyer because he wants those bonus seconds. Van Aert wants the full complement of seconds. Because remember, if Hayter takes 1 second, then or 2 seconds rather, then he would, and he's going to take 6 uncontested, then he'd go like 14 seconds ahead of Van Aert, 15 seconds ahead of Van Aert. Van Aert does come second in the sprint. Mads Pedersen doesn't contest it. So true to his word that he doesn't appear to be going for the green jersey. So Van Aert now mathematically cannot take the red jersey from Tadej Pogacar if Ethan Hayter stayed on the same time at the finish, which was a big if. It's a tricky finish. There's rights, lefts, narrowings, road furniture, and it's not flat. The last K is like 4%. There's also 3 or 2 700 meter, like 6% pinches in this finish. So it's not a straightforward sprint finish. And in classic Vuelta style, you see it's just different to the Tour de France. Like once Hayter's brought back, it's climbing rouleurs like Sivakov on the right, positioning Pogacar, like Armirel, who positioned the Visma train. And there's just not these big lead-out trains. You see Laporte guiding Van Aert and Brennan with Tulloch behind on the left. You've got Norsgaard in front of Pedersen on the right. You've got Oliveira guarding Pogacar in the red jersey on the left. It's just not the same as the Tour where there's just, Astana have a full train. Actually, Astana positioned really well here. They have Fedorov, the Asian Continental Champion, positioning Romele near the front. And as you can see, these lefts, it stretches the bunch. That's what I mean about these. The overhead shots really show it. These turns and then these kickers stretch the bunch, and then it will split if someone does something. Van Aert does something here. He knows the only way he can get the red jersey if Hayter stays on the same time is to go from 2 Ks to go. And here we have this kicker. He sprints to the left. Pogacar's blocked and didn't really see it coming. He has to react on the other side. And Pogacar goes after Wout van Aert. One of the EF riders pulls off and can't respond. And it looks like if Van Aert can crack him like on Montmartre, maybe he just rides away from Tadej Pogacar. But Pogacar takes this right-hander very, very well. Looks like he's closing up a bit, but then Wout van Aert sees he's on a small gap and waits for him a little bit, maybe expecting Pogacar to relay, because Pogacar, he was the reason Van der Poel won the Montmartre stage by doing a dead pull into the last 500 meters, but he doesn't give Van Aert a turn, somewhat curiously, because Van Aert's got Brennan behind. So Van Aert's like, well, if you're not going to pull, I got the lethal weapon of Brennan behind. Romele from Astana bridges across to them. He pulls a little bit, but they get caught pretty easily, actually. I think this is Covey sprinting with about 850 meters to go. Pedersen's there I think just in front of Finn Fisher-Black. Good finish for Finn Fisher-Black. I mean, this finish is a copy of the Sterling finish in the Tour Down Under. Real ones know the Sterling finish, which Brennan won this year. Fisher-Black's normally pretty good on that. Laporte starts guiding Brennan, and this is the same thing. It's not a classic sprint finish. There's no lead outs. It's uphill. The bunch is already decimated by the Van Aert attack, and Finn Fisher-Black shoots from the back, maybe trying to catch them unawares at 450 meters to go, but he goes just a bit too early. Brennan switches off onto him and uses him as the lead out the same way that he used Brady Gilmore on that sterling finish back in January. He's waiting, he's checking his left shoulder. He's got Pedersen opening from his left shoulder. Is Pedersen going to go for a long one and win on the finish he's won twice at before? But Brennan opens the taps, and pretty dominant sprint victory, to be honest. Winning going away from Pedersen. Pogacar actually rolls through for third. Po Mikel, a really nice result in second. The Bahrain versatile sprinter. But as you can see in the sprint at Brennan, he won going away, as they say. So for the flat sprints coming up, he's also looking pretty good. Yes, you'll have De Schoeitner and Mayers more relevant in those sprints with Van Aert and Laporte as the lead out. It's looking good for Brennan. Wins at the first time of asking in the road stages. And yeah, Pogacar really impressive actually to respond to the Van Aert attack. But in hindsight, he maybe should have continued with it, given Van Aert, a cursory pull. By the way, gaps. Carlos Rodriguez rolls over like, no, there's no bother. These riders all get put on a gap of 18 seconds. Everyone works so hard for seconds in the prologue, and then positioning and splits costs. Almeida, Gall, Nordhagen, they all lose 18 seconds in this uphill sprint because of the splits likely caused by Van Aert's attack. Brennan winning ahead of Po Mikel, then Pogacar, Pedersen, Hofstede, Johannesson, Fisher-Black, Laurence on the Aula. Here is what the Darlington Dynamite had to say.
Started off with the ambition of Wout trying to get in the red jersey today. We said, okay, there's a nice opportunity to attack in the final, and Wout was really keen to kind of do that. So yeah, we had that plan, and then I was always going to be in the background to do the sprint in case that kind of sat up, and that's exactly what happened. The guys sat up in front, and then Christoph did a great job in kind of guiding me all the way through the hecticness of that. And yeah, I'm super happy to finish it off.
Your first Grand Tour victory, highly expected?
Well, I mean, hopefully it's not the last one, because it's nice. I think, again, boys worked all day really well, and they really gave it 100%, and believed in both of us that we could achieve something successful today. And I'm really happy to kind of start off this way.
In terms of GC, Pogacar actually extends his lead on Hayter, who lost time at the finish behind those splits. Van Aert stays put on 9 seconds. Tomorrow we've got an uphill finish, not that hard. It really depends. Does UAE want to control? If they do, then Pogacar, of course, wins the stage, and then he keeps red likely for the whole race. But otherwise, it's a good break opportunity. Hope you enjoy the video. Go check out Join. See you later. Ciao, ciao.